After spending thousands of years in the vault, will Synch be able to say goodbye to his lady love Talon? Or will his heartbreak be so terrible he'll end up taking all of mutant kind with him? Well, let's hop into the pages of X-Men issue number 31 and find out together, shall we? So then, picking up more or less directly from where the last issue left off, Talon had died on a mission to try and steal the High Evolutionary's gene bomb. And now the love of her life, Synch, is refusing to let go of her memory, by which I mean very literally he's actually using Jean Grey's power to try and keep a copy of her mind alive, in hopes that maybe, just maybe, they'll be able to re-establish the mutant resurrection protocols and he can bring her back to life. Not wanting to let go of someone you love is pretty understandable given the situation. Unfortunately for Synch, he couldn't have chosen to do this at a worst possible time. For one thing, we learned that ever since being resurrected, Synch was able to copy the powers of mutants who weren't nearby him. Here's a thing we didn't know until right now, though. Every time he did that, it slowly killed him and aged up his body. Nobody actually noticed because he always had Talon nearby. He was able to siphon off some of her Wolverine-style healing factor to help beat back the Reaper, but now she's gone, meaning his body is slowly shutting down and his mind following not far behind because, again, he absolutely refuses to let his love go. This means that the X-Men are without their two basic de facto leaders during one of the darkest times in their history, as elsewhere we see Kamala Khan and Spider-Man, who stuck around from the last issue, how cool, are attempting to stealthily activate their cure that should hopefully do away with Orchis' kill switch implanted on most of humanity. Peter, always the optimistic scientist, thinks it's kind of a shame that they have to use the High Evolutionary's gene technology under such shitty circumstances. Any other day of the week, this would be a medical breakthrough, a new unstoppable way to administer life-saving medicine wherever it's needed. Despite our hero's best efforts, though, this operation ends up catching the eyes and ears of Nimrod, Orchis' #1 killer robot who makes his appearance known. So far as you'll recall, the X-Men have absolutely terrible luck when it comes to dealing with Nimrod, him having killed a good number of the guests at the last Hellfire Gala. They're also down one of their most valuable members in Synch, who continues to fight a battle inside his own mind, Shadowcat basically saying, "We really hope when you get your shit together you'll remember to come and help us." Losing a loved one is never easy, but unless Synch is able to unpack his baggage, and soon he'll be losing a lot more than just Talon. The X-Men pull out all the stops to try and bring down Nimrod. Spider-Man crashes a truck into him, which is just an admittedly hilarious image anytime Spider-Man is behind the wheel of a vehicle. I don't know why, but it never fails to make me smile. Shadowcat tries to phase shift through the killer robot's components. After all, this did kill a lesser version of Nimrod in the past. Unfortunately, this new Nimrod is bigger and badder than any Nimrod in the past. Even Wolverine tries to give him the old adamantium Q-tip treatment to no avail. It just seems that the X-Men team as it stands right now is too small and too ill-equipped to actually deal with this problem. But they have to hold out as long as humanly possible in hopes that the gene bomb will do its trick and that humanity will be saved from Orchis' kill switch. There's also a minor little diversion this issue wherein we see Wilson Fisk, the White King of the Hellfire Club, reunite with his wife, Typhoid Mary, who had also gone missing at the Hellfire Gala. It's brief and it's sweet, though admittedly the impact of this twist was kind of harmed by Spider-Man Gang War that already showed us that Wilson and Typhoid Mary had reunited. But hey, if you only read the X-Men books, there you have it. There's also a nice bit of juxtaposition too. Kingpin and his love are finally reunited, just as Synch finally has to say goodbye to his love. Talon basically says that they had thousands of years together inside the vault, and theirs was a life well lived and a love that will echo on forever, and that other people need him right now. And that Talon knew the cost when she went with Synch to get the gene bomb back, and if he dies now, then everything she did really will have been in vain. Thankfully, once all that's said and done, Synch is able to back up his teammates and make the big save. He channels Storm at her most powerful, summoning up a massive lightning bolt that, while it obviously doesn't kill Nimrod, manages to stun him just long enough for the gene bomb to do its good work. The X-Men resistance managed to slip away thanks to a portal, and as the comic comes to a close, Synch says they can now move ahead with the next part of the mutants' big rebellious plan, starting with Polaris, who will be able to make landfall soon. Want to know what happens next? Be sure to read Fall of the House of X issue 2 coming out soon. And so that was X-Men issue number 31, everyone, and overall I thought this issue was fine. It's nice that Talon and Synch's romance got a nice little send-off here in these two stories. Obviously, it's been a huge backbone of the X-Men books ever since the Duggan era of X-Men started. Likewise, I'm glad there's an actual in-story explanation explanation as to how the mutants were able to defeat the Orchis kill switch, which was obviously the big reason why they couldn't all come together and fight Orchis in the open. Also, brief though it might have been, I guess it was also kind of nice to see Nimrod treated like an actual threat again, who could easily stand against the entire X-Men team as it is at the moment. Where it feels like there's plenty of times throughout the last couple years worth of X-Men story where they've talked a big game with Nimrod, only for him to be defeated pretty easily. Beyond that though, my big issue with this story and this arc in general is something that I said in the previous video, but it bears repeating, and that is pretty much any X-Men story right now that isn't Fall of or Rise of has this real unescapable sense of wrap it up going on, which again, nothing particularly wrong with it. I'm glad they're wrapping it up instead of leaving a bunch of storylines on the table. But it just kind of feels like if you're not reading Rise of or Fall of, everything else is just a little superfluous at the moment. Still not bad, I would give it a 7 out of 10.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.